Now, as for number 6, King Crimson with Diavolo. Now, y'all may be thinking, how could King Crimson defeat Sea Moon and Enrico Pucci specifically? For one, we're not counting time skip. I'm not going to explain how time skip works, but basically, imagine Rico Pucci sees Diavolo climbing up parallel towards him, and he basically tries to use Sea Moon on him. And then for a second, Sea Moon moves across a different place and completely like Pucci doesn't know what's going on. But then he gets donutted by Emperor Crimson, and Diavolo's like giving his little monologue and everything. That's how King Crimson would pretty much defeat Enrico Pucci. Like the whole last half of Golden Wind was basically how do we defeat this guy? This stand basically reached faster speeds than Silver Chariot, and possibly faster than Star Platinum. And also the only disadvantage his stand has is that his range is pretty shitty. But even still, with time skip, he's able to do a lot. Like he can basically defeat Enrico Pucci. Unless Enrico Pucci V basically doesn't have Sea Moon on him, he is screwed and able to take a lot of damage if he's not prepared for what's gonna happen. So I still see Emperor Crimson taking over like Sea Moon. Number 5, Dio and the World. Y'all may be asking, how the hell would time skip lose the time stop? I don't know. I don't know how that would work. I really do not know how that fight would honestly play out. But we do forget a lot of things about the World than we do about Emperor Crimson. For one thing, the World has a longer range, which is a disadvantage that Emperor Crimson already has. His range being able to be 10 meters and still being able to control it, as well as Star Platinum, which for like Sea Moon and White Snake, that's still kind of like, that's a bigger advantage that it has for those stands. Also, its durability is still pretty strong, and Dio's able to take a lot of damage with his leg being chopped off and everything for being a vampire in here. Still, we do forget that even Emperor Crimson has a shitty durability, like has an E in durability, so it basically can take a lot of like things pretty hard. Like I can see honestly a barrage murdering the shit out of Diavolo, or him getting his face like punched off or something. Dio can do a lot during this time stop, but Diavolo can do a couple things during time skip. But the thing is that has to be fated to happen or whatever the fuck it is. So I don't know how that would play. Maybe fate would have Diavolo somehow winning, and he just like skips to that point. I don't know. But honestly, I do see Dio winning against Diavolo because of how stronger he is and being able to take a lot of things to him. So yeah, way more stronger, way more destructive stand, and a longer range than King Crimson. Number 4, Ultimate Cars. Ultimate Cars has been called one of the strongest characters in all of Jojo, and that is something that does not take away from how powerful Cars is in general. Ultimate Cars, by the way, not the original Cars. Ultimate Cars. We barely even saw half the shit he could possibly do. Who knows all the things he could do? He can probably turn himself to a porcupine, shoot all the spikes filled with venomous poisons that's uncurable, and he can just probably murder you in just that second. A couple stands I can think of it on this list is probably Sea Moon. He can probably punch him up, and he can probably like fly up to space and go to the same way he did in part 2. Or maybe White Snake being able to take away his memories, but that's kind of a stretch since technically Cars cannot die. Ultimate Cars is to the point where he's basically immortal and he cannot die by anything. Only reason why he was defeated was because Joseph Joestar was smarter enough to kind of like trick him and kind of make him go to like a power trip to the point where he was blinded from what Joseph was able to do. But still, Ultimate Cars is not a joke to play around and is definitely one of the strongest. We barely even got to see half the things he was able to do. Now for number 3, Funny Valentine's D4C. Y'all may be questioning, how does Dirty D's Done Dirt Cheap defeat the Ultimate Life Form? Well, I'll tell you something. Ultimate Cars comes up to Funny Valentine because he just sees him as just a normal human. All of a suddenly, as he's about to land his attacks or whatever, Funny Valentine just throws a chair or throws like a flag on him. He goes through the flag and he sees another version of himself. And before he can like comprehend what's going on, he fucking blows up all of a sudden because he connected to his alternate self. That's how this shit works. D4C has Star Platinum levels of destructions, And basically, his idea of taking anyone into alternate dimensions and being able to kill them if they meet their alternative self is is difficult to comprehend, especially with how powerful his stand is by being so simple. He can also, like, before you can even kill him, if he goes through an opening or something, another version of him could climb out and still have the stand. And guess what? He can be another version of himself and not die by that, because that's how Dirty Deeds Done Dirt Cheap works. It is powerful. With his flag alone, he can defeat a lot of stand users, and I do see him soloing a lot of parts in JoJo by himself. So still, Funny Valentine, strong as hell. But we're not still there at the most powerful main antagonist, as we still got like a couple to go through. Number two, for the strongest main antagonist in JoJo, Enrico Pucci's Made in Heaven. Oh my fucking god. Made in Heaven is strong as fucking shit. This stand reaches infinity levels of speed, being able to cut through things like Swiss cheese. Like, this thing can cut you up. His strength alone should be able to show how powerful he is. He can cut you up. He can slice your head off if he wanted to, and you can't land any attacks on him because he has super speed. And not only that, we do forget that he's able to accelerate to the point where the universe can restart. That is insane, and that is crazy. Honestly, he may not be able to take down ultimate cards, but he's able to incapacitate him to the point where he won't even be able to land any more hits on Enrico, because Enrico's to the point where he can just zoom past anything. Like, it is strong. It is so weird how strong he is. The only thing he cannot surpass is maybe like if you have a stand like Weather Report or Heavy Weather, or they're the same stand, but still. His stand was able to destroy him because of being able to take away oxygen. I don't know if cars would be able to do that, like maybe poison the oxygen around. I don't know if that's possible, but he's definitely able to destroy a lot of the people on this list. It is crazy how powerful Made in Heaven is. So before we get to number one, which is obvious if y'all know, so for an honorable mention, let's go on the Purple Haze Feedback main villain with Volpe's manic depression. It's last place in case y'all are wondering, but I wanted to bring him up because I think his stand is pretty interesting to bring up. So manic depression is able to basically pull you up on a drug and make you addictive enough, but the thing is that it's destroying your insides and everything, and he's able to reach himself like vampire-like strength, like Dio Brando in part 1. He's able to rip hoods off of cars and everything, which I think is a pretty strong feat. He still loses to everybody on this list, but still, manic depression, pretty powerful stand, and Volpe himself was pretty powerful himself, and to the point I like the ending of Purple Haze Feedback. So yeah, if you haven't read it, read it. It's definitely up there with like Golden Wind in a lot of ways. Not as good, but in some ways, almost as good. Now, number one, the strongest main antagonist in all of JoJo's, Funny Valentine with D4C Love Train. Y'all are asking, how does this defeat the ultimate life form? How does this defeat stands that is able to accelerate time or destroy gravity or skip like time? I'll tell you one thing, because it can basically send that to another place or another place in time. So what this stand does is basically direct any misfortunes to Funny Valentine. Now, what the hell does that mean? So any like misfortunes to Funny Valentine can be sent to another place and another place in time. That's not the only thing. That may sound a little weak, but that's not the only thing. He can hide in there, and you're unable to attack him unless you can break through dimensions or your 5D or 4D or whatever, how many Ds there are there. You're unable to break through the thing because it's an impossible barrier filled and made of dimensions. That's not only it either. The area around Funny Valentine will start to get together, like it will forcefully move, and any wounds you may get will start to climb up to your heart and you just die. Unless you have a stand that is able to break it, like the spin technique or the infinite rotation, you are unable to defeat Funny Valentine because you cannot destroy something because you are a misfortune to him. So you are gone, dead, deader than dead. So yes, I do think Funny Valentine is the strongest main antagonist. I haven't read part 8, but I have heard a lot about this one. So I don't know how strong he is, but yeah, strong stand user, strong main antagonist. The strongest one as far as I can tell. So yeah, if y'all have any ideas of what y'all want to see in the next whatever, type it down in the comments. Hopefully y'all like this video, and yeah, hopefully y'all had fun. Hopefully y'all didn't get mad at a lot of the choices I made. So yeah, see ya.